What's going on, guys? Grant Pushkar here, host of the Cleveland Search podcast. Welcome to another episode of my podcast, as well as an episode on the YouTube. We're kind of doing a 2-in-1 here, tackling both things, killing two birds with one stone. This is going to be my audio for my podcast tonight, as well as this new content is going to be dropping on our new Overtime Heroics YouTube channel as well. So definitely, guys, go check it out. But I'm with Victor here, host of the Philly Special Pod. How you doing, Victor?
Going on, man. Happy to be again. We've been on our shows a couple times now, so I'm sure we're familiar enough with each other to be on these shows enough. I'm glad to be back.
For sure, yeah. Thank you guys for so much for the support watching this on the YouTube first video. Right now we have like 300 plus views as well as 86 subs. We're almost hitting 100, so we're getting up there. But this is gonna be a heated debate. We go back and forth all the time.
Polls after polls. Tired of these polls.
He can't be repping. He's not repping Wentz.
I'm fresh out of work,
Wentz
bro.
isn't as good as Baker.
Fresh out of work.
So here we go. I mean, let's get into this. So Baker and Wentz. I mean, Baker Mayfield is younger. All right.
That's great. Okay, we're not even gonna. All right, so your issue is that you think Baker is already better than Carson Wentz right now. If you were to pick one of Carson Wentz and Baker Mayfield, you think you're taking Baker. That's correct, right?
I am. I'm not. Yeah, I am taking Baker right now. I am.
So my thing with that is are you guys just blind to the injuries, or are you just that head over heels over Baker Mayfield that you think no young QB is better than Baker Mayfield right now?
Not yet. I mean, yes, the injuries are a problem. The dude has been hurt multiple times. And this isn't me. Like, I don't hate Carson Wentz. I love him. I love his talent. He's good. Don't get me wrong. But if you're telling me you need to pick one quarterback to start your franchise, to lead your
Carson
franchise
Wentz
right now, Baker or Wentz, I'm going Baker.
No, you
don't.
You
even tweeted out a poll for your Philly fans, and it backfired on you.
Because listen, all right, so the poll got about 450 votes and about 60-40. No, it was like 68-32 or 62-38 Baker Carson Wentz. But the issue is that people are labeling Carson Wentz as injury prone. And I'm getting really tired of educating people, sports fans, on what injury prone really means. Like Jordan Reed, injury prone. Sam Bradford, injury prone. Tony Romo, when he was playing, injury prone. You can look at those three guys and say that they're injury prone. You can't look at Carson Wentz, dude that's only missed 8 games of the first 48 he's played, literally just 8 games due to a fluke like ACL injury. And then last year, Carson Wentz, they rushed him back because Ryan Fitzpatrick came in and lit us on fire, and everybody started panicking, so they threw Carson Wentz back in there. So you can't pin that on Carson Wentz. I understand, like, he's hurt the last 2 years and he didn't get to play the playoffs the last 2 years, but I refuse to label this man as injury prone based on a couple of freak accidents.
I can get that, but I mean, he's okay. Maybe not injury prone, but he's fragile. Put it that way. He's fragile.
Fragile. That's even worse.
He's fragile.
Susceptible
fragile,
to injury.
Man.
So here's my thing then. So take injury out of it. Why would you pick? If you take injury out of it, say they're both fully healthy, why would you pick Baker Mayfield over Carson Wentz?
Who had a better rookie season, Wentz or Mayfield?
Well, you could. Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So with Carson Wentz, you want to base that on rookie seasons. So Carson Wentz.
No, I'm just asking who had a better rookie year.
All right, so we're gonna separate this. So we can say Baker Mayfield, but we can say that also because this is it. So Carson Wentz. It's interesting that you say that because last season, Baker Mayfield got thrown into week 3 just as Wentz did. But rookie season, Carson Wentz literally had no receivers to speak of. He had Dorial Green Beckham. He had a mentally unstable Nelson Aguilar. He had brick hands, Jordan Matthews, and they literally dropped everything thrown at him. If you want to go down the numbers, Dorial Green Beckham dropped 12 passes that Carson Wentz threw to him. Jordan Matthews dropped 8. Nelson Aguilar dropped 6. Burton 4. Throws 4, and the list goes on and on of money on. And these are catchable passes I'm looking at. They dropped 12 plus passes each of droppable passes, and I don't understand why Carson Wentz is at fault for that. I understand this is rookie year and all this nonsense. Like Baker Mayfield had a much more reliable offense than Carson Wentz did in 2016.
You can Baker had drop passes all the time. Jarvis Landry
not as much as Dorial Green Beckham dropped.
you can argue that the Eagles receiving core is better than the Browns receiving core last year.
The Eagles receiving core in 2016?
You can argue that, yeah.
No, you cannot argue that. No, because Carson Wentz. Do you understand this depth chart?
Yeah, we have Jarvis Landry, but he had so many drops last year too. Callaway was a rookie. He had trouble last year. He's great, but he was a rookie. After those two guys, we had Hollywood Higgins. Okay, we signed Rashard Perryman from the street. Like we didn't have any good wide receivers.
Jarvis Landry alone is better than any receiver Carson Wentz had in 2016.
You can't. You can't.
Jarvis Landry is better than Jordan Matthews and Nelson Aguilar and DGB put together. Like.
All right, but that's what I'm saying. Who had? I want you to answer this honestly. Who had the better regular season? Just say Mayfield or Wentz.
He had the better rookie season.
Okay.
Carson Wentz threw 16 and 14 his rookie year, and Baker, I believe, threw
27
and 14, I believe, right?
Right.
All right. Well,
did Wentz break the rookie touchdown record?
No, he didn't. Because you need receivers. You need receivers to catch those balls. I remember a play where Jordan Matthews on Monday Night Football against Chicago.
Mayfield didn't have that good of a
Jordan Matthews dropped it in his hands in the end zone, literally like in his hands, and he just dropped it. There's no reason for that.
Baker, it's crazy, dude. Baker didn't even play the first 2.5 games of the season, so he could have had a way.
Carson Wentz missed the first two games too last year. So
why did he miss those? Why did he miss those games?
He missed those first 2 games because they thought that he wasn't ready. Carson Wentz was ready,
but he was injured.
So this is the thing with Carson Wentz. So we can pin down that Carson Wentz and his injury prone. If he's so injury prone and his injuries affect his ability to throw the ball. So last year he threw 21 touchdowns, 7 picks, 70%, and 3,000 plus yards with a broken damn back and a not fully recovered ACL. Yeah. This is the highest rating. He had the number 1 highest rating last year, 102.2, and he had the highest completion percentage at 69.6. No receiver catching over 65 passes, and no running back averaging 4.3 yards per carry. And Carson Wentz was still able to put up all those stats while he was on one leg and a broken damn vertebrae. So that's pretty damn good. And I'd take that over a healthy Baker Mayfield.
How many games did Wentz play last year? Or this past season?
This past season, he missed the first 2, and then he missed the last 3. So what is that? 11 games he played?
Right.
He missed 8 of his first 48 games. 16% of his games he missed since coming into the league. Mind you, this season he came literally in week 1 because they traded Bradford last second. So we can for his rookie year, he still had to go in there without training camp, without playbook, anything.
Right. I got the stats right here. Wentz had 3,074 yards, 21 TDs, and 7 picks last year. Exactly. Right. Who had the better supporting cast last year?
Last year? Oh man.
You guys did.
So yeah, okay. Which is why he put up the stats that he did. Baker
put up better stats, and he didn't have as good supporting cast.
Jarvis Landry. Okay. Well, I'll argue that Jarvis Landry and Njoku are better. Is better than what we have.
Who's a better tight end? Who's a better tight end?
Zach Ertz is far and away better than Njoku.
Right. I agree. Okay. And Jarvis Landry is better than all of your receivers, but you had you guys had so.
We had this talk already. You think Jarvis Landry is better than Alshon Jeffrey?
No, I would take Alshon over Jarvis.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. He had a way better supporting cast last season, and Baker ended up performing better.
So that's because. So we're doing this injury thing again with that. So you're saying that Baker Mayfield outperformed Carson Wentz last year because Carson Wentz was half injured last year.
Here's another thing. Okay. Before the Eagles had Wentz, right? What was their record that season before Wentz came in?
Are you talking about the 7-9 year, Wentz's rookie year, or the year
No, the year before Wentz's rookie year. How were the Eagles? What was it?
9-7 with Bradford, I believe.
What were the Browns before Baker came into town?
Oh, well, we know what the Browns were before Baker came into town.
0-6, man.
0-16, man.
0-16.
I'm not discrediting Baker Mayfield for doing that. I'm not discrediting Baker Mayfield. I'm just saying that if I'm starting my franchise, I'm not taking Baker Mayfield over Carson Wentz. You can take the play. You remember the Washington play. Carson Wentz came out of the huddle when he was damn near down, and he came out. Did you see Baker Mayfield doing that?
Wait, what?
Is Baker Mayfield even mobile? Is Baker Mayfield even mobile?
Did you see the throw Baker had against the whatever game it was? He was rolling to his left, the opposite side. He was able to turn his body and make a throw in between. It was the Panthers game, in between 2 guys that dropped in Jarvis Landry's hands right here. Yes, he's mobile.
So who's more talented, Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz?
Baker is more talented.
Healthy. When they're both completely healthy, you think Baker Mayfield's more talented than Carson Wentz?
I do. I believe so.
Oh my God, you're insane. So if Hugh Jackson would have took Carson Wentz, if Hugh Jackson would have took Carson Wentz in that draft, you're not going to be sitting here talking about Carson Wentz as the man. Like, if he had the same exact career as he did with the Browns, you wouldn't be saying that Carson Wentz is the man because you guys were all about Carson Wentz until you traded us.
I will. Okay. flip. Okay, if the Eagles would have done the situation, they would have been in the Browns situation, and we would have drafted Wentz, and you would have had Baker this year on the Eagles. I would have been salty that we didn't wait for Baker.
Really? I'm happy with Carson Wentz. I'm not sitting here thinking like, oh, we should have took Baker Mayfield. Like, oh, I don't.
No.
I like Baker Mayfield. He's the man over there, but he's not better than Carson Wentz. Not in the least. And we can factor in his whole. You can factor in Carson's, even with his injuries and all this stuff. I would even say that a 70% Carson Wentz is better than 80% of the QBs in this league.
Okay, yeah, I can roll with that. I'm not saying I don't love Carson Wentz, but this comes down to if you're picking one guy to start your franchise, I'm taking Baker Mayfield, and based on all the stats that we
based on injuries alone,
all the stuff that
you're basing that on injuries.
No, just all around. I'm basing it on all around. You can take his injuries out if you want. Take his injuries out. The big thing, look, people don't realize how hard it is to take an 0-16 team to 7-8-1. 0-16.
So as great as that is for Baker Mayfield to do, Carson Wentz was the damn MVP of this league 2 years ago. Not the NFC, not the division, of this league before he got hurt.
I get that.
So you have to put them on the same scale of what Baker did, what Carson Wentz did. He was MVP of this whole league. So how can you say I will pick Baker Mayfield over the MVP of this league 2 years ago?
He's not the MVP.
He wasn't going to win MVP 2 years ago?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying right now he's not the MVP.
He would have been MVP. That's irrelevant. If he didn't get hurt, he would have been MVP of this league.
Conversation on who we pick to start franchise right now. Right now, Carson Wentz is very talented quarterback.
I'm picking the 2017 MVP of this league.
Let's just say Baker will be the MVP in 2 years.
Oh, well, I'd be stunned if Baker's MVP in 2 years. So all right. So we'll take away. So forget starting franchise. This coming season, who do you think will perform better, Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz in this upcoming season?
Baker Mayfield.
He's going to have a better season than Carson Wentz.
I think so.
All right, and your prediction. All right, give me your prediction for each player's stats. Go
ahead. Well, in your first mailbag episode or whatever, the barbershop talk that you're doing, I had. If you want to go Wentz, do you think he's going to play the MVP season? I'm saying Wentz has 30, 35 touchdowns with 10, 11 interceptions, 12 maybe. That's good.
Accurate. And you think Baker's going to be better than that?
I think Baker's having 40-plus touchdowns this year. We have so many weapons. He's going to have 40 touchdowns in around 15 picks. No, not 10 minus. Maybe 10 to 15.
So this is the thing because Baker Mayfield threw 14 picks last season. We can attest that to rookie or inexperience or anything like that. So if you want to factor in supporting cast, we had this argument at the same time about who we think's better between Alshon, Deshaun, and Aguilar, between OBJ, Jarvis, and who's the other guy over there? Who's the third?
Njoku.
Well, he's the tight end, but we were talking about receivers, I think. Okay, we can even say Ertz. We can even say.
We did the tight end and the two wide receivers.
Oh, we did. Okay, so it was Alshon, Deshaun, and Ertz, and is that better compared to Jarvis, OBJ, and Njoku? We had that thing, so we can argue that. I would say that they are pretty equal. Once it's all said and done, Ertz is the better tight end, but OBJ is the better receiver. So at the end of the day, it's pretty equal receiving cast. You can even factor in the running backs. We have Kareem Hunt now and Duke Johnson if he works his issue out. And then you have Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard with us. So I would say it's a pretty damn equal offensive firepower that both these teams have.
It's not. It's not even. No one is saying the Eagles have all this firepower behind Wentz. Everyone is saying the Baker has those. Okay.
People aren't saying literally. People are ranking the Eagles offense as the number one in this league this year. You're not seeing that? Literally,
I have not seen that yet.
It's Alshon, Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz, Jordan Howard, and Carson Wentz, and Dallas Goedert. Like, it's impossible for Wentz.
Who's better, Jordan Howard or Kareem Hunt?
Well, do you mean a full season of Jordan Howard and 8 games of Kareem Hunt? Because you only got him for 8 games.
It really doesn't matter. 8 games. I'd rather have 8 games.
I would take Kareem Hunt over Jordan Howard, of course. Who wouldn't?
Okay, there you go. And we have Nick Chubb. He's better than your second running back. So that's a clean sweep right there. Wide receivers. Okay, you have a better tight end. I love Zach Ertz. Way better than Njoku, at least right now. He could develop in a few years, but I think Ertz is just way better than him. Odell is better than any receiver you have on your team. That's just flat out.
Nobody's arguing that.
We have Jarvis Landry, Antonio Callaway, Hollywood Higgins, like we have such a stacked
You keep
offense.
talking about this Callaway guy. Like, educate me on Callaway. I need to know more about this kid.
Callaway, we got him in the 4th round. Okay, he was a first-round talent. He had off-the-field issues. He's so fast. Like he was one of the fastest guys in the combine. Okay, people are going to be covering Odell and Jarvis all year long. Callaway is going to run a streak down the middle of the field, and no one's going to be able to cover him. He's that fast.
Sounds like Deshaun Jackson.
Baker had
same thing he does.
Yeah, but Deshaun Jackson is also older.
32, yeah, I know.
And then Callaway, so Callaway has fresher legs.
All right, so here's my last point. If how the offenses will pan out, because Odell Beckham was already starting to run his mouth, and the season hasn't even started yet. Do you think this man is going to behave himself for the whole year?
I can't answer that right now. I'm hoping.
This man's running his mouth already.
I'll be the first to admit it. We have too many egos in our team. We're gonna have to watch out with that. But I mean, other than that, look out, Browns. Just look out, man. Any last words before we wrap this up, man? What do you want to say?
I'm just saying.
Other than Baker's better than Wentz.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not, and I won't for a while. But I will say that I was very impressed with Baker Mayfield last year. I do love Baker Mayfield as a quarterback. I appreciate his leadership. Not a lot of QBs can come in there and command his team the way that he did last year. I'm proud of the Browns. Nobody wants to see the Browns lose all the time. I like where they're going. I like the direction they're going. But Carson Wentz is top young QBs in this league, and I think Carson Wentz is way above Baker Mayfield athletically, skill wise, and just like the MVP. You don't understand. Like, you need to go back and, like, I don't know what you got to do. I don't know if you got to go watch Carson Wentz 2017 tape. I don't know if you got to watch.
We're picking right now, man.
But for right this second, if I had to pick between Baker and Carson, picking Carson, even with the injury woes, I'm still. And that's bias aside. You can ask. We already did the poll, and people are so scared of injuries that nobody's going to pick Carson Wentz. If you ask this prior to his injuries, I would guarantee people will talk Carson Wentz. And then you can factor in Dak Prescott, and if he's even worth a debate between Carson and Baker, and you have Russell Wilson, who's not really young anymore, but you can factor in like Josh Allen and those guys. But I would say that Baker and Carson are definitely top tier young in this league, and I would be happy to have either of them. But I would pick Carson.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on my pod as well as the Overtime Rogues YouTube channel, man. I really appreciate it. This was all fun. We love like he just said, he loves Baker, and yeah, I love Carson Wentz, but we're just disagreeing on it. So
it's gonna be this for all through the season.
Right. Thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys later.